What's going on, guys? Jeff here with Water Jug Fitness, and thank you for tuning into my 4,400 calorie bulking meal prep series. This is video 2, which is prep and pack. So it's going to go over cooking or prepping the groceries that you purchased in video 1 and then packaging them up. So video 1 was called groceries and it covered getting all the groceries. And then there's one more video in this series which is called time to eat. And that's going to cover breaking down when I eat all the meals as well as all the calories, the protein, carbs, and fats in each meal. You can find links to all the videos in the description. And also, this video series is a little bit different than the other series I did a few months back, which was the bulking meal prep 4,400 calories a day for less than $70 a week. That meal prep focused on keeping it under a certain budget, where this meal prep focuses on giving you more variety. And real quick before I get into the video, there's also a printable PDF that's gonna have all the groceries, all the cooking utensils, all the cooking instructions. It's also gonna break down the day and when to eat each meal, as well as what's in each meal, the protein, the carbs, and fats. All those great things are in the PDF. So if you want yourself a hard copy, I personally like it so I can make my own notes, or I can take the grocery list to the store, whatever the case may be. I made it available to you so you can check it out. There's a link in the description. So if you want it, go ahead and get it. But I don't want to waste any more time, and let's just get into this video. I have some Brussels sprouts. I have celery. I have 6 sweet potatoes. I have 1.5 to 2 pounds of broccoli. I have 6 oranges, 6 apples. I have 3 packages of strawberries. I have 6 bananas. I have a bag of sharp cheddar sticks. I have some spray butter. I have a package of whole wheat bread. I have some large eggs. A package of angel hair pasta. I have a half gallon of chocolate milk. A half gallon of 1% milk. A large container of oatmeal. I have extra virgin olive oil, some maple syrup, some peanut butter. Let me flip over. I have some cherries and berries and nuts mixed. Then I have some Flavor God seasoning, which I bought online. I have a garlic lover, a everything spicy, and a chipotle. Then I have some grape jelly, a traditional pasta sauce, some Parmesan, center cut bacon, 2 packages of chicken tenderloins, 2 packages of top round steak, and then a package of ground sirloin. Lastly, water. And if you want to know the ounces and pounds that I got of each, again, watch the previous video and it goes in more depth about the groceries. This video is focused on the prep portion, prep and pack. So now it's time to get to the cooking utensils, and then we'll get to the prep. I have some hefty gallon freezer bags. Set those there. Then I have 2 baking pans. I have a cookie sheet is what they call them. I have a strainer. I have a medium cooking skillet. I have a larger saute pan. I have a large cooking pot. I have some oven mitts. Then I have my 3 compartments Mealtainer meal prep containers. They are BPA free, dishwasher safe, microwavable safe. You can put them in the freezer if you want. You guys also get a discount on them, so check out the link in the description and get a discount on these things. I prep every week and I use these things and I love them. So there you go, get yourself some. Then I have another set of containers just in case they won't all fit in these ones. I have a knife set. I have my weight scale. I have a slotted, let me turn this way for you. I got a slotted spoon. I have a measuring cup set. I have a spatula and a ladle. And then I have a cutting board. So that is all the cooking utensils. That is all the food. Now it's time to get into the prep. Since it can take a little while to preheat the oven, you generally want to do that first. So we're going to start by preheating the oven to 400 degrees. Then you'll want to get your tinfoil and line the cookie sheet with tinfoil. And then you kind of just want to do what I'm doing and pat it down. Now you want to go ahead and place your sweet potatoes into your strainer, run some water over them, and then scrub any of the dirt or grime off of the potatoes because there will be some. Once you're done with that, you're going to want to place your sweet potatoes onto the cutting board, and with a fork, pierce each sweet potato several times in several different spots. You don't have to use a fork, you could use a knife, but The objective here is to reduce the cook time and also make sure that they cook thoroughly. Place them in the oven and set the timer for 50 minutes. Then we're going to move on to the green beans and Brussels sprouts. You're going to want to place the green beans as well as the Brussels sprouts into the strainer and then rinse them with water, again, just as we did the sweet potatoes. After they're rinsed off, you want to place them into a baking dish and add extra virgin olive oil as well as some black pepper. Now you want to unpackage your bacon, put it on your cutting board, get a sharp knife and start cutting it into very small pieces, probably less than half an inch, maybe even a quarter inch. The smaller you cut it, the easier it will cook, or the better it will cook, I should say. And the reason I didn't add salt to the green beans is because the bacon is already pretty high in sodium, so I didn't want to add more salt. Now I'm going to turn the stove to a medium-high heat, add the bacon to my cooking skillet, and kind of mix it around with a wooden spoon, making sure that it gets spread out and it will cook more evenly. And then I'm going to cook it for about 5 minutes, shut the stove off, place it onto a plate with a paper towel, and then grab a paper towel and kind of dab it around a little bit to get any of the excess grease. Then I'm going to add the bacon to the Brussels sprouts and green beans and spread it around evenly. Moving on to the broccoli, I'm going to place a strainer in the sink, add my broccoli so that I can rinse the broccoli crowns. It always makes me feel better to rinse my produce or rinse my vegetables because I don't really know who touched it, so that's what I always do. Now I'm going to start chopping up the broccoli. I'm going to chop off the end there and I'm not going to use that piece. And then I'm just going to proceed with cutting the broccoli into smaller pieces. How small is really up to you. I just like to cut them so that I know that they're going to fit into my containers. Obviously, if you leave them larger, they might not fit. So that's just something that I like to keep in mind, and you might want to keep in mind also. And once you get the broccoli cut up, you're just going to want to place it into your baking dish. Then after you have all the broccoli chopped up and it's in your baking dish, you're going to want to add some extra virgin olive oil, as well as salt and pepper. The amount of salt and pepper you add is again completely up to you for your preference, or you could add a different seasoning of your choice. Then with 25 minutes left, you want to add the Brussels sprouts and green beans as well as broccoli to the oven. Then grab your oven mitt and begin to flip the sweet potatoes so that you can make sure they're cooking evenly. Now while all of that is baking in the oven, I'm going to start prepping the bananas and strawberries. So really just getting them ready for the freezer. So with the bananas, I'm just going to pull the peels off of each one, place them into the freezer bag, and then I will be able to move them to the freezer. And you don't have to freeze your bananas by any means. I just think that they last longer, so I do that every now and again. So now that I have them all peeled and in the freezer bag, I'm going to go ahead and just place them in the freezer. And once I want my smoothie, I'll just get it out and it'll be ready to go. Now it's time to move on to the strawberries. So I'm going to place the strawberries into the strainer and rinse them off because again, I don't know where they've been. I don't know who's touched them. So I want to place them in the strainer and get any dirt or bacteria off of them. Then I'm going to start to cut the tops off of each one, or cut the stems off because you don't want to eat those obviously. And then just like the bananas, you're just going to place the strawberries into a freezer bag. You may need to use more than one freezer bag. It just depends on how many strawberries that you bought or the size of the freezer bag. But once you have them all cut up, I'm just going to go to the freezer again and pop them in there. Then with about 10 minutes left, I'm going to check the broccoli as well as check the Brussels sprouts and green beans. And the broccoli will be done. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that. After an additional 10 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and pull the Brussels sprouts, bacon, and green beans. I just wanted to make sure that they were fully cooked. And it didn't seem like the sweet potatoes were done, so I put them in for another 5 minutes, and now they are. And here's just a quick shot of the broccoli, the green beans, bacon, and Brussels sprouts, as well as the sweet potatoes. Now moving on to the chicken tenderloins, I'm just going to take the chicken tenderloin out of the packages, place it onto the cutting board, and then begin to cut off the little white tendon. So on your chicken tenderloin, there's a little white tendon. If you try to eat that without cutting it off, it's going to be very, very chewy and hard to eat. So you're going to want to make sure you cut that off from each piece. So just wanted to make sure I pointed that out because I have ate it before and it did not taste very good. So make sure you cut that little white tendon off. And then you're just gonna want to cut each piece into about a ½ inch to 1 inch, maybe a little bit bigger if you'd like. The size is really up to you. And then as I cut it to make room on my cutting board, I just throw it into the skillet. I'm gonna head over to the stove and turn it to a medium-high heat, add some extra virgin olive oil, add a little bit of Flavor God Garlic Lovers seasoning. Again, here's where you could add your own seasoning, but I like the Garlic Lovers. And then I'm just gonna flip it around a little bit and let it cook. And as the chicken is cooking, I'm gonna start the spaghetti. So in a large saute pan, I'm gonna add some extra virgin olive oil. I'm gonna add the beef, and I'm gonna add some everything spicy Flavor God seasoning. Again, the seasonings, guys, are completely up to you. Then I'm just gonna kind of chop it up into smaller pieces, and it should take about 8 to 10 minutes to cook. But really you want to cook it until it's browned and there's no more pink. And then in a strainer, I'm going to strain the beef, or drain the beef, whatever you want to call it, to get that extra grease out, because I don't want that. And then I'm just going to add it back to my saute pan, and I'm going to add the traditional pasta sauce that I got. Here's again where you could pick your own kind of pasta sauce. And then I'm going to turn it on low and kind of stir it around a little bit, just really trying to make sure that it all gets mixed around together. And now by this time the chicken should be done. So I'm just gonna shut the burner off, and then I'm gonna move the chicken into a container. The container is up to you, it's your choice, wherever you wanna move it. But I will need that cooking skillet again for the beef, which is coming up right now. So I'm going to start by trimming off the fat. Depending on how fatty the piece is, you might not have a lot to trim off. It's pretty lean stuff, so there's really not much fat that I had to trim. And then I'm going to cut it into slices first, and then after I have it all cut up into slices, I will start to cut it up into little ½ inch to 1 inch cubes. However big or small you decide to cut them, just make sure you cut them all the same so that they cook evenly. Then after I have it all cut up and in the skillet, I'm gonna place it on the stove, add some extra virgin olive oil, add some Chipotle Flavor God seasoning. Again, up to you on what seasoning you wanna use. By this time, the spaghetti sauce will be done, so I can shut that off. And after about 10 to 12 minutes, it will be done. It just depends on how you like your beef cooked, but I can shut that off and begin cooking the pasta. So in a large cooking pot, I'm going to add the water. And I don't measure how much water, but I know that there's a good 1 to 2 inches above the noodles when I put them in. So then I'm gonna turn the stove to a high heat, put a lid on, let it start boiling, and as that's boiling, I'm gonna get my container set up and ready to go. And now that the water is boiling, I'm gonna grab my angel hair pasta and just dump it in. I don't break it in half. You could break it in half if you would like, but I just choose not to. And then I'm gonna grab some salt and add some salt to it. I just read somewhere that you should do this, but I don't think you have to. Then I'm gonna set the timer for 4 minutes, and once that's done, the pasta's done. It's pretty simple. I'm just gonna shut the stove off and then head over to the sink and strain it. And now it's time to start packaging up the meals. So the first meal I'm gonna package up is the post-workout meal. It's going to be 10 ounces of pasta. And I know I've talked about this in my other videos. If you don't have a weight scale, you can eyeball it. That's definitely an option, but I have found it is just easier to get a scale. You could go buy a digital scale, or you can buy, the type of scale I have. It's up to you, but I think this scale is really helpful, and I really do recommend it if you can get your hands on one. Then I'm going to add a ladle of the pasta sauce. So this meal plan is a little bit different in terms of macros or calories, because I didn't add the beef and then add the pasta sauce. Obviously I don't know exactly how much is in, but I can just take the containers and the beef, the serving size, and just divide them. I'll talk more about that in a little bit, but now I'm going to add 7 ounces of chicken to the other 2 meals. So 3 meals are the 10 ounces of noodles with the ladle of pasta sauce. And then 2 of the meals are going to be 10 ounces of pasta with 7 ounces of chicken. But again, I'll explain that more a little bit later. Then I'm moving on to chicken for the lunches. So I'm gonna have 3 meals of 4 ounces of chicken. So I'm gonna package these up and then get to the sweet potatoes. So now here are the sweet potatoes. You're gonna have to peel the skin off of each sweet potato. They're gonna be sticky, they're gonna be a little bit messy, but I have yet to find a way to peel these things to where my hands don't get messy or sticky, but it's fine. Anyways, you're gonna wanna package up for each lunch 6 to 7 ounces of sweet potato. So you're gonna have 3 meals of chicken, sweet potato, and veggies, and then 2 meals of steak, sweet potato, and veggies. So a little bit more variety than my other plan. Speaking of the round steak, so what you're gonna wanna do now is weigh out 6 ounces of round steak for the other 2 lunches. And after you package up your 6 ounces of round steak for those 2 meals, you're gonna have some round steak left over. And that is for breakfast. So each morning I have it so I can eat 2.5, anywhere from 2 to 3 ounces of round steak. So that's what I'm doing now, is I'm weighing out 2.5 to 3 ounces of round steak for each day. And then I'm gonna move on to the veggies. So I'm gonna add 1.5 cups to 2 cups of broccoli to each of my post-workout meals. And then I'm gonna add about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of the green beans, Brussels sprouts, and bacon. Now again, guys, you want to stick around to the end of this video because I explain a little bit more, the flexibility of calculating the macros and things like that, because this one is a little bit more flexible with all the variety. So stick around to the end. And so going over the lunches quick, 3 days a week I'm gonna have chicken, sweet potato, and veggies, and 2 days of the week I'm gonna have the round steak, sweet potato, and veggies. And then for post-workout meal, 3 days a week I'm gonna have the pasta sauce, pasta, and broccoli, and 2 days a week I'm gonna have the chicken, pasta, and broccoli. And I know that I didn't put pasta sauce on the chicken, but there's a reason why. So stick around to the end and I'll tell you. And then here's just a shot of all the meals. All right, guys, and that is all the meals. Now I'm sure you noticed that we did not use all of the groceries because you only had to prep or cook some of the meals. There are several other meals that I eat throughout the day to get to 4,400 calories. So if you want to see that when I eat each meal, make sure to check out part 3, which is called Time to Eat, and it covers eating each meal as well as breaking down the protein, the carbs, and fats of each meal and the total calories. So again, that's video number 3, Time to Eat, so check it out. Also, there is a little bit more variety in this meal prep, and when I was calculating the macros, there is a little bit of flexibility in that. So obviously the ladle of spaghetti with the ground beef, I'm not gonna have the exact 100% correct macros potentially, but it's gonna be close because I just divided what was in the jar of sauce and the ground beef. I just divided that into 3 meals. So I just wanted to make that a point for you guys to know. But again, that's all I had. I wanted to wrap up this video now, and please leave feedback. Let me know what you guys thought about the video. It always helps to make them better. And also, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this. And that's all I have. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed.